guys, Josh Presley here again. Today we're going to work on close guard, understanding how to use the close guard. And I'm going to split these videos up into close guard, back takes, and sweeps, which we'll do today. And there'll also be a separate video on close guard submissions. Really, you're going to have to bring all these things together to have a fluid game. But I think back takes and sweeps are kind of a thing in itself, and you need to learn them. Today I have my friend and my training partner, Jess. Say hi, Jess.
Hi.
She's going to join me today and help me show some of these moves. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is goal setting in close guard. What should be our goals once we have our opponent in close guard? First and foremost, break their posture. I'll show you different ways to do it. We're going to look at different ways our partner's going to grip us, how we can break them down. That's always going to be number one when you have someone in close guard, break their posture. Number two, kind of a secondary goal, is to try to keep them on the defensive. You want to try to be on offense and try to keep them thinking defense, and then through grips, movement, we're going to look to get an angle on our partner, either expose their back and look for a back take, or change things up and hit them with a sweep. So let's get right into it. Okay, let's talk about how to break the posture inside the close guard. This is a big problem, because this is usually seen as a neutral position or even as a good position for the person on bottom rather than the person on top, but only if you know how to use it and you know the controls that are available. And I find a lot of times what can happen in close guard is say you know an arm lock from close guard, but people just don't time it well. Depending on how your partner's holding you, it may not be the time to go for the arm lock. Say Jess is holding me like so, hands on the hips, and her posture's fairly far back. Now's not really the time to go for the arm lock. If I want an arm lock, I have to control an arm. So just when we're talking about breaking the posture, if my partner has hands on my hips, that means they're not protecting their collars. So I can sit up, grab both collars, and now I'm gonna yank, and she's gonna be forced to bring her hands to the floor, or otherwise her posture's just gonna break, like this, right? And now I can start to think about maybe taking an overhook, climbing my legs up, going into different attacks. But if she has strong posture and she's sitting away from me like this, and I'm trying to sit up and I'm trying to go for arm locks and stuff, it's not the right thing to do. I have to bring their head close to me. The further that Jess's head is away from me, the more that she's in control of the distance. So our options are, if they have hands on the hips, I'm gonna grab the collars and pull them in. Maybe they go hands on the biceps. This is another very common one, and it can make it tough to try to grab the head. So what I do in this situation is I lift my hips a little bit and I'll swim my hands inside, looking to control the posture again. It's fine to try to hold their head and work from here, but nothing in jiu-jitsu is gonna last forever, and they're often gonna fight to get their posture back, and they're gonna look to reset themselves here. So we have to have different strategies depending on how they grip us. So grabbing the collars, hands to the floor. Hands on both biceps. That means I have to swim inside. If I try to go over top, it's not really gonna work. So I lift my hips, I go inside, always looking to break them down with the collar. If they grab two collars in one hand, maybe they'll have the other hand somewhere around the pants, like so. This is also a really effective control for Jess to control me, because if I try to sit up, it keeps me down. She's gonna start to dig her elbow into my knee, try to break the guard open. Exactly. So what we can look to do in that situation is, if she has both collars in one hand, I'm just gonna look to break just this grip. And I grab on the sleeve, and I'm gonna take my hand and go underneath her wrist here like this. So now it's not too hard for me to punch this up here, and now we can use this to drag the arm across the body, set up a back take. If I was more thinking arm lock, that would be possible as well. But if she has the one hand and I try to swim both arms inside, it doesn't really work. So you should be able to see, you need to know what grip break and what posture break you need to use depending on how they're holding you. So for this one, sleeve underneath. Now I create a little bar with my wrist. So even if she holds on tight, it's gonna be tough for her to maintain that grip. And now I have control of her sleeve. I wanna get something out of this, so I'm gonna start to drag it across the body. The other way they might have their hands, and they shouldn't do this, but they might, is if they leave their hands on the floor. Sometimes people will just leave their hands like so. Like I said, not a good idea, because it opens you up for kimuras, triangles, different things like that. But some people will do it. Some people might just get a little bit lazy, tired, or whatnot. So if I can get their hands to the floor, that's always a good sign that you have them at a balance and you have them on the defense. If I'm here, now Jess has to fight to maintain her posture. That's defensive. And now I can start to look for my attacks. So again, just kind of quickly summarizing, hands on the hips, grab the collars. Hands on the biceps, get your hands inside, grab the collar. If they're 2-on-1, now this is a situation where I'm not gonna grab the collar first. I'm gonna attack the wrist. You gotta take what's in front of you here. I can pull this across or maybe look to take an overhook. So these are just a couple different ways that we can look to break our partner down, control their posture, and try to get ahead of the game. This is our close guard 2-on-1 to the back. Now this is a classic technique that I use almost every day in training. And it's great for if our partner holds with 2 collars in one hand, which a lot of people will do to you. So I'm gonna grab the sleeve, I punch underneath her wrist, and now I punch this grip up in the air. Now what I don't want is just to just re-grab on my gi anywhere, because that's gonna make it difficult to hit this move. So I keep the hand floating, and I'm gonna use my legs and pull my knees to my face. Anytime I break posture, I'm also using my legs and doing a little knee pull. And now I pass the grip, so I just have it in my right hand, and I'm stiff arm here. If Jess tries to pull this arm back, it shouldn't be easy. And now with this free hand, my left hand, I look to take a grip on the far side of her body here. I'm looking to try to grab the lat or the armpit. And now I have to try to move my body out towards my left here. So I like to shrimp, swing my leg, and now I'm getting up behind Jess's shoulder and tricep. Very good for me. With my foot, I like to go in between the legs here. So now I'm attacking the turtle position, and I can start to break her down, throw my second hook in, and now I have 4 points for the back. So, again, we're here. She gets the grips. She's all set up. Punch, pull my knees to my face, and stiff arm this arm across her body. Now, they're not gonna like this. They're gonna wanna try to get back to where they were. So it's important that I take this grip on the side of her body. Now, I should even be able to keep this by holding her tight if I didn't have the sleeve grip. But now, it's important to shrimp my hips, and now I rock. Big swing of this leg, and then post my hands. And now, foot goes in between. I can look to break her down to the mat, throw that second hook in, and then we can attack submissions from there. So I'm gonna get Jess to demonstrate the 2-on-1 to the back. So here, boom. Keep that grip nice and tight. And now you can let go of that. And now you're up, covering the hips. Nice. Okay, so now let's take a look at the pendulum sweep. Now this goes really good in combination with the last move, the 2-on-1 to the back, because we set it up in the same way. I punch this grip off, I get the arm across my body, and I get a grip here. But for this situation, my partner's putting a lot of weight into me, and I don't feel like I can take the back for this particular move, because there's a lot of weight pinned to my chest. But what's available is to go for the pendulum sweep. So the pendulum is when I take my free hand, which is my right hand, and I try to hook under Jess's leg, here like this. Now, once I have control of her leg, I have control of her center of gravity. And now I can start to pull her knee towards my face and take her over to the side. Hopefully landing in a full mount situation. So I get 2 for the sweep, 4 points for the mount, and I'm in a great position to go on offense. So when you feel like you can't get the back, you go for the sweep. I get here, things are going well. I get to about here, I start to go for the back. I'm like, oh no, she's crushing me. So I don't just fight for the back, I hook under the leg, and now I'm pulling on the lat, and I'm also rocking this leg. I kick my left leg towards my face to load her up, and then I complete the sweep, take her over, landing with both knees on the floor. Once more, we'll go from a different angle so you can see the leg grip. So I'm here, punch, I get to about here, and now I realize, okay, probably no back tape. So if I just pull with this grip, it's not really gonna cut it. I need an angle. I get the angle by getting here, and now, see, I can start to take her over. So you gotta turn your body. You almost want your head more perpendicular than parallel. This one's good because you can do it on someone that's much bigger. And it's not too difficult to perform once you get under the leg. If they keep their knees on the floor and you feel like they're not driving weight into you, that means it's gonna be easy to go for the back. But you feel like they're too big, too strong, you can't quite get it and they're driving weight up into you, that's the sign to start to grab for the leg. And now I kick and dump them over. Here, like so. Punch. Boom. Now you get a grip here. I'm keeping the weight into you. Say I put a foot up, hook under, and now you want to hold me on top of you. Exactly. Take me right over. Okay, now I'm going to show you the scissor sweep. Another classic sweep in jiu-jitsu. I use it frequently. But our grips are really going to be what sets us up, and we really need good body positioning for the sweep. Because I've seen this one attempted a lot of times, and it just be a total nightmare. So what you want to do when you set up the scissor sweep, first you're going to need a cross collar grip. Why do I need that? Because it's good for a push and a pull. Also, I control Jess's shoulder. So if she's trying to drive into me, now's the time to push, and I can kind of hold her off a little bit. But what's more important for the scissor sweep, once I get the grip, is I also need an angle. I gotta change the angle of my body. So I look to grab the sleeve. So now I'm starting to dominate one side of the body, and I'm gonna look to take this post hand away. Anytime you try to sweep someone, usually they're gonna try to recover their balance by sticking an arm in. So what I look to do in this situation is I get a fairly deep collar grip. I look to break the posture, and I have the sleeve. Sometimes this might be a good fake or a good bait to make someone think that you want an arm lock here. That's not actually what I'm after. What I want is the scissor sweep. So when I go from here, I gotta change the angle of my body and get on my left hip. And now I'm setting the scissor sweep up from about here, where my right knee is pointed at Jess's shoulder. And I like to start with this foot about here on the hip. So it's important to keep this knee here. I don't wanna go too low with the knee on the scissor sweep because Jess can just start to crush my leg down. Now there's no more scissor sweep. Now I'm getting my guard passed. So it's important that I keep this leg on an angle here, like this. Not totally 90 degrees, but about here. So if she tries to come forward, it's not a huge deal. I can push her back a little bit. Now when I want to set up the sweep, the classic way that we used to do it is block this leg and I'm driving through with my legs, scissoring motion, and now I come up into mount. It's a great way to chain other attacks to it. But I find it's a little bit inefficient, where if I get here, maybe I'm dealing with a much bigger partner or someone that has real strong base, and I'll get to here, sometimes I feel like I can't quite chop this knee out. So an adjustment that you can make is once I get to the scissor sweep, I'm actually gonna kind of hop on my shoulder to about here. And now I post a foot on the knee, I pull my grips towards me, and I extend my leg to make it a little bit easier to hit that scissor sweep. I like to keep the grips and start to come up here. Because sometimes you can even punch the arm across and go right into a mounted arm lock, which would be nice. You can make that happen. But as I said, when we're scissor sweeping, we're here and here. Really, I think of this as more like a kind of a three-part move. Part one, okay, I got my grips. Part two, I gotta get the angle, get in position. Part three, actually executing the sweep. So I'm here, I get an angle to about here. Now from here, they're not gonna like this. They're probably gonna move around a little bit, try to crush through this knee shield. That's when I gotta jump on my shoulder and now put the foot to the knee. Now I extend and I'm kicking this way, more just kind of pushing with my leg to sweep her to here. As soon as her back hits the mat, I start to get up, put both knees on the floor so I secure my points for the mount. So again, this would be another 6-point move. So we're starting to see how closed guard sweeps are really valuable. I go from bottom to top, always great, and oftentimes they'll end in a dominant position. So I get my grips, I change the angle of my body. I'm really more on my left shoulder than anything else. And I'm creating all this space to drop Jess into. That's what makes the scissor sweep easy. She falls into that space. If I don't have an angle, what you'll see sometimes, a failed scissor sweep where it doesn't work, is people get here, they get the grips, most people know what grips they need, but they get here and they're just trying really hard and fighting to get it. But see how I haven't created any space for her to fall into? I'm straight on with her. So it's gonna be really tough. It's much easier if I get to about here. Now I've created this pocket of space for her to drop into. And then I can start to get up. Maybe I attack a collar choke from mount. You got a lot of options, but these details are important, like on these 3 stages. So give it a shot, Jess. here. Grips nicely done. Get the angle here. And now hop back. You want to be more on your shoulder than your elbow. Yeah, and now pull the sleeve in. And now with that foot, post it more on my knee. Yeah, perfect. Right up into mount. So, one more. Sure. So over here, close guard, gets like grips, gets the knee, foot to the knee, right up. Very nice. So, that's our scissor sweep from close guard. Puts your partner on their back, gives you 6 points, and you end up at mount. Okay, this one is the flower sweep. Similar to the pendulum sweep, but how it's gonna work is we need a grip on the sleeve and a grip underneath the leg. How are we gonna get a grip under the leg? Isn't your partner sitting most of their weight on their heels? Yeah, they are. And what you need to do is bring your knees to your face, here. Remember how we talked about breaking the posture? Anytime I'm able to break the posture, usually I'm getting her butt away from her heels, right? Now this is good because it's gonna open up space for me to feed my hand through. So what I like to do is get a grip on the sleeve. I'll pull my knees to my face and I'm looking to get a grip under the leg here. Now most of the time my partner's gonna look to correct their posture and sit back up here. But no problem, I already got the grip that I want. And now I can repeat the same move, but now I know she has no post because I have it in my hand and I can start to knock her over and start to come up on top. Again, 6 points. We get 2 for the sweep and 4 for the mount. This one looks fairly simple, and it is fairly simple, but it's not gonna be necessarily easy to get the grips. So usually it's not too difficult to get this grip, right? Usually your partner's gonna be trying to grab you in some way, so they're gonna give you a chance to get this sleeve. The leg grip is what's a little bit harder. So like I said, bring your knees to your face, and I'm starting to reach like I'm reaching down into my pocket, and I grab right behind the back of the knee. As she goes to correct her posture again, no problem. I just pretend like nothing's happening. Okay, great. And now I'm gonna start to go. Okay, so I come right up on top. So it's often good in jiu-jitsu to try to be a little bit deceptive. You know, you don't necessarily want your partner to know what you're going for. The more that you train and the more people that you train with, they're gonna figure you out. You're gonna know some of each other's moves. So chaining attacks together and being a little bit deceptive is gonna do a lot for you. So I get here, I get to here. Maybe I'll pretend like when she goes back that I want something else, like I'm trying to pull the arm across or something, just to get her thinking about not getting swept. And now once I'm ready to go, I pull her weight over me, so she's getting her head over my head, and now I'm gonna really pull that leg, open up my legs, so it creates momentum to take her over and landing in the mount position. So it's kind of a quick and dirty pendulum sweep. But like I said, they call this one the flower sweep. So I'm here. Another version that you can do is to try to grab the outside of the pants. But personally, it's a little bit tough because people's pants can sometimes be tight against their knee. So it might be another one where you have to kind of rock them around a little bit. And now I can use the same grips with a posted foot to try to take her over. Okay, so that is a variation. You can use a grip on the outside of the pant leg. Show that one once more. So maybe I can't get my hand under the leg no matter what I do. I just grab the side of the pants and post this foot. And now the perfect time to do this one is as I feel like they're maybe starting to bring their weight forward a little bit. Now I can take them right over, okay? Coming right up into the mount. One more time with the classic flower sweep. Here, I get my sleeve grip, knees to my face, hook under that leg. Now the more that I get an angle, the easier it should be to take your weight over me and start to come up on top. So Jess, you're up. Let's see the flower sweep. So here, yep. Now hook under. Now I'm gonna start to correct myself. And now bring your knees towards your face. And now really pull that leg. Yeah. More, try to pull that knee more towards your face.
Okay.
So, here, pull me in, boom, and now pull me in again, and now really pull that leg. Yeah, there you go.
I see what you mean.
Yeah. One more. Yeah. So, and as soon as you're pulling to take me over, unlock your legs to get more momentum. Here, Yeah, that was perfect. Right over. Okay, so that's our flower sweep. So now we have pendulum sweep, flower sweep, 2-on-1 to the back. Like I said, when you're able to use things in combination, that's when you're gonna start having more success in jiu-jitsu with your attacks. So you wanna have this in your arsenal, but once you can start to combine this with other moves, other sweeps, and other submissions, your success rate is gonna skyrocket. Okay, this is an arm triangle setup that we can use to get in the back or the sweep. It's possible that you might be able to get it for the submission, but in my experience, it's quite difficult to finish someone with an arm triangle when you're in bottom position. Not to say it's impossible, don't send me a bunch of YouTube videos of people getting submitted from the bottom on arm triangles. But what I mean here is once I get to here, it's gonna be tough for me to actually get enough squeeze and get the submission because her body weight's on top of me. What I need is my body weight on top of her. So a lot of times I'll get to this position and the person will kind of just stay strong and stay stable. So if I feel like it's tough to get the submission, I might squeeze a little bit to make her a little bit nervous and think, uh-oh, I better defend this. But really what I want to do is like want to get my hips out towards my left, holding this arm triangle until I can rock my leg and start to get up on my posted hand here. Almost kind of similar to how he went for the close guard 2-on-1 to the back. But instead we're using the arm triangle to get to here. And now I break my partner down, throw hooks in, and we're ready to attack on the back. So a great way to set this up is off of that, when they have two lapels in one hand. Why? Because as soon as I punch this grip off, if I bring my knees to my face, I can land in this position. Like I said, usually I'll give a little squeeze just to make them panic a little bit. And they're thinking, uh-oh, they want the arm triangle. That's not actually what I want. I'm gonna start to change my body and get up behind Jess and start to go to here. Breaking our hips down to the mat, throwing hooks in, and we're good to go. The variation that I'll use sometimes, because once you do this to them once or twice and they know they're in danger of getting their back taken, they're gonna look to prevent that by getting up on their toes. Here, like this, exactly. Because now it makes it more difficult for me to get out on an angle and secure the back. But what this makes it a little bit easier to do is get the sweep. So I keep my hands together, I'm gonna unlock my feet, and I'm gonna go low. Here, I circle one leg in, my left leg is just gonna kinda go down and chop on Jess's knee. And I lift one foot, and I take her over. Now we're in the position to start to finish that arm triangle. Okay, not gonna get into all the specific details right now. That'll be for a different video. But right now, we're just looking at how can we use this arm triangle from the bottom to gain position. So I get here, I pull her in, here. She starts to get up on the toes. She knows what I want. She knows I want to take the back. She's trying to prevent it. It's a smart thing for her to do. So what I do is I unlock my feet. I just do a little leg circle, see? And I go right in and about the knee here, because I want to be able to lift with this, what's now a butterfly hook. And now with my left leg, I go low. So I'm kind of pushing on her right knee with my left and lifting her left with my right to get to about here. Now it's very common when you land here, they'll still have your ankle trapped and you'll be in an arm triangle like this. Just know that you can still keep trying to transition to the back control if you want, or you can fight for that arm triangle and try to get the submission. You're gonna have to make the choice in the moment when it happens. So, once more, I'm here. I get rid of this grip. I pull in. I keep the hands locked together. I don't want her getting this arm back over on this side of my body. Now the situation's different. So I want to get here. First one, I take the back. So I'm getting an angle, rocking up, and securing to here. The backup finish that we had, that if that doesn't work for whatever reason, she's aware of it and she starts to get up, no problem. I'm just going to circle, put a foot in, go low, and lift. Clipping that other leg and landing about here. I can fight for the arm triangle, or I can look to go for a different position. Now I'm going to get Jess to demonstrate. So here, boom, here, and now lock the hands together. So a little bit of an arm triangle threat here, and now you want to start to go for the back. So you're going to unlock your feet, yeah, and then start to shrimp, popping up behind me, just like that, perfect. Secure the back. And then if I start to get up on my toes, here, punch, here, still does that arm triangle, so I'm like, oh, I don't want my back taken. So I get up, now you weave that in, and now go low on about my knee. Yeah, there you go. Take me over. Perfect. Once more. Yeah, just a little foot circle to get in my knee. Here. Lock the hands, like get up, not with my back taken. Instead, I'm getting swung. Nice. So, that's a great way to use a submission to kind of scare your partner a little bit, get them thinking, uh-oh, I gotta go on my submission defense, and then you hit them with the sweep. So like I said, a little bit of misdirection, gotta be a little bit deceptive. You wanna always make them think that you want one thing and then go for another. So that's our arm triangle sweep or back take. Okay, let me show you the hip bump sweep. This is another classic sweep from closed guard. You've probably seen it before, but there's some real key details that are gonna make or break this sweep. So first things first, when is the correct time to go for the hip bump sweep? Is it when my partner's leaning over top of me? No, not at all. It's actually when they're leaning back a little bit too far. Your partner, just in this scenario, she wants to find kind of the sweet spot, like the Goldilocks range of like good posture, right? Where she's not leaning back too far, but she's not too far forward either. She's almost kind of straight up and has her arms in place like so. So for the hip bump sweep, I notice she's maybe leaning back just a little bit too far. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look to sit up in one shot. So I unlock my feet and I sit up to my hands, okay? Now, it doesn't seem like much, just a little bit of a sit up, but it's important how I do this. If I go to my elbow first, basically I'm giving her a cue that I'm gonna do the hip bump sweep. And in jiu-jitsu, identification is a huge thing. The sooner that you know what move your partner's trying to do to you, the sooner you can figure it out, and hopefully you know a defense that you can quickly employ. So if I get to here, I'm to my elbow, I'm starting to get up to my hand, she already knows what's coming, she's gonna look to push me back down, and now I start from square one. And not only that, but now she knows, okay, he's a hip bump guy, so now he's gonna wanna try to go for that. So what is gonna be a little bit more effective is if I'm here and I do a big, huge sit-up, almost like I'm trying to headbutt her, get up to here. I don't actually wanna headbutt my partner. And now I'm gonna grab the elbow with my right hand, post my feet on the floor, and now it's important with my foot, my right foot, it's like I'm taking a running step in this direction to take her over with the hip bump sweep. Again, 6-point move. We swept, 2, then we mounted, 4, once I hold it for 3 seconds. And now I can look to attack. So we're just taking advantage of our partner's posture being a little bit too far back. So again, the entry, don't get up to your elbow first and then to your hand. It's just, it takes too long. In jiu-jitsu, it's important to be able to cut out steps. You don't want to cut out steps that are necessary, but you want to be able to cut out steps that you don't need. So it's just not necessary for me to get to my elbow first, then my hand. Maybe it can work, but it's an extra step. And someone that's a talented opponent, they're going to shut you down right away. As soon as they see you getting up to this elbow, they're just going to shove you right back down. And I'm going to end up here. So in one shot, I go all the way up to my hand, unlock my feet, and I post my foot on the floor. If I don't have my feet on the floor, I can't really effectively hip bump. So I post my foot, bringing my heel back to my butt. And I always picture like I'm doing like a running, like a sprinting start, like I'm at the Olympics. Trying to go for the gold in the 100 meters. Knock them over here. And now I can start to hunt submission attacks from here. So just a couple from a little bit of a different angle. I'm here, unlock to my hand, left foot post on the floor, right foot goes on the mat, and now I'm taking her more this way. I want her to land about here. It's not actually straight back. I'm hitting her with my hips and taking her like so. So it's more of a turn than like a directly knock them backwards. I'm not trying to drive her back here. It doesn't really, it's not efficient. So I get up to my hand and I trap here like this. Anywhere from the elbow to the wrist, just so they can't post this hand out, that's gonna prevent it. So I'm here, I unlock, sit up, grab. If she goes to stick this hand out now, she can't. I can pull it away enough then it's not going to prevent me from stopping the sweep. So I'll let Jess demonstrate the hip bump. So here I'm leaning too far back. Up. Perfect. Very nice. See, she went right up to the hand, ran into me with her hips, and took advantage of my bad posture. Oh, very nice. So that's our hip bump sweep. The main time, like I said, for that is you feel like your opponent's leaning a little bit too far back. Maybe they don't have hands directly on you. That's the time to sit up to that hand, catch their elbow, knock them over with your hips, and take them out position. Okay, this is a little game that you can play, and it gets you really good at breaking your partner's posture in closed guard. So basically, what's gonna happen to you a lot of times is your partner's gonna look to stand up. And I'm gonna show you some sweeps that you can use when your partner does stand. But if you can prevent that stand up from happening altogether, that's gonna be good for you. So a little game that we used to play is you gotta set some rules. So the rules for this is basically neither one of us is gonna be allowed to use our arms. We're only allowed to use our legs. So Jess's goal is to try to stand up on both legs. If she can get all the way up, that's a win for her and a loss for me, and then she goes back down. But if I know what I'm doing in closed guard and I'm effectively using my legs, she shouldn't ever be able to stand up because at most she should be able to get up on one foot. So say we're playing the game here, she gets to about here. As soon as she goes to stand up on this other foot, I'm gonna pull my knees to my face and it's gonna force her to post out on her hands. It's fine to use your hands to recover balance. She's just not allowed to grab me. That's cheating for this game. So say she goes up, she's trying to stand. Go again. Go again. See, it's gonna be nearly impossible. So we'll switch roles. Now, no matter how hard I try, the thing is, once she sees me post this foot, and once I try to transfer weight onto this other foot, that's the time to pull the knees to the face, right? So this is a really, really good game to teach you how to break your opponent's balance. And we used to just do this for a minute or say 10 reps. And like I said, if you're doing it right, the person on the bottom should win 100% of the time. Maybe they're a little bit late once in a while, no big deal. And it's actually good for you to teach you, oh, okay, now that you're gonna understand when you need to break the posture. Because if she just tries to pull her legs to her face here, she can do it, but I have my hands involved. The best time to do it is, like I said, once I go here, I go to stand up on my other leg, it's impossible. So I'm just gonna do 5 or 6 really fast to show you. See, this is not easy. So this is a little game you can play at the start or end of class, but I think it's really good in that it teaches you when you need to pull, okay? She can pull now, it's fine, and it'll bring my hands to the floor. But if you see your partner going to stand up, and usually they'll start it with one foot on the mat. Now, it might be hard for her to break me down from here, especially if I have my hands in place. But in a real situation, as I go to get up, now I have to recover, try to stand up again. So it's just gonna constantly keep me on the defensive and keep me on my knees. Keeping me on my knees is good because once you deal with someone that actually is able to stand up, it's a different ball game now. Because now Jess has to work really hard to keep me with her legs. Now I can look to push the knee and look to pass. So that's what we're trying to prevent. We don't want our partner standing up on us because it's gonna make us work a lot harder with our legs, with our grips, with everything. So if she can keep me on my knees, it's gonna be a lot better for her to set up sweeps, set up back takes, set up submissions. So one more time as I go. As soon as she sees me go to transfer me, pulling me down. So you can do this one with a friend, with a partner. You can even do it with someone that doesn't know anything about jiu-jitsu and just get them to try to stand up without using their hands. So just a little game that you can play from closed guard. It's often good to try to like kind of gamify things in jiu-jitsu because as you know, as you train a lot, you know, things can kind of be a little bit stale once in a while. So it's cool to kind of switch up the training, play a little game like that. It'll improve a specific area of your jiu-jitsu and it'll help you in the long run. This is an overhead sweep here. This one's often been called the roulette sweep. So what we're gonna do in this situation, we know our partner's gonna stand up, but we're able to control both sleeves. So usually how the stand up happens is this. It just stands up here like this. Now this changes the game because, as I said, my legs have to work harder now to maintain this closed guard, and it just changes the angle of everything. It's making it tougher for me. So what we can do, just go back down, is we can look to sweep them as soon as they stand up. Now this is a little bit of timing, but this one does work really well. And a little trick that you can do to your partner is that what I'll do oftentimes, just pretend that you're exhausted, like you're not gonna be able to do anything. Like I'll get both sleeves, and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm just so tired. So now she starts to stand up, I'm pretending, and now I can start to take her right over, okay? You wanna trick them a little bit. So what we're doing, to break this down a bit more, is I'm pulling with the sleeves. Anytime we're doing an overhead sweep, we need 2 pulling grips. So as she goes to stand up, as soon as that second foot touches the floor, I'm unlocking, pulling with my sleeve grips. I'm also bringing my knees towards my face because that's gonna load her up here. It's important with overhead sweeps to load your partner up. Then once you get them to eyes over eyes, I'm gonna punch the sleeves down. We used to call it putting on the big sombrero here. You don't want your hands close together. You wanna be about here and then punch. So all the way through, it looks like this. I get here, punch, and that takes her over. Now, once again, I land and mount. I have a cool little highlight reel, and you can attack submissions from there. So, once again, I'm here. As soon as I get both sleeves, now a lot of times I'll put my head on the floor, make them think that I'm a little bit tired. They're thinking, oh, good time to stand up. He's not gonna go for anything, he's exhausted. But as soon as okay, foot, now I can take them over here, okay? So that load up is important. You can see I didn't get quite as much pull on that one. I'll show you once more. And this can also happen too, once they stand all the way up, the timing works a little better if you can catch them as they're standing. So once again, as I get here, maybe I'm a little bit late, no big deal. She stands all the way up here, pull the sleeves. I still pull my knees to my chest, and I take her right over. Make her do a little flip. And now I can start to attack submissions. So I'll get Jess to demonstrate. So here, as I go to stand up, here, now you gotta unlock the guard. And now you wanna get a good pull, put on that sombrero, and now bring your knees to your chest.
So pushing down and coming up.
Yep, here. You gotta roll over your shoulder.
Yeah, I felt that.
Roll over your shoulder.
Try again.
When you take them over, look over the shoulder that you're rolling over.
It's focusing too much on your arms.
Here, up, here. Now, more of a pull. You still got to use your legs. Load me up.
Loading you by pushing and then like.
Yep. Now, that was it.
Perfect.
I feel better.
Yeah.
More.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just enough to kind of get them on their toes and like up, and then you drop. So here, you get the sleeves. And, okay, I'm gonna stand up. Now here, pull. Nice. So that's an overhead sweep. Like I said, it looks kind of flashy, but in my opinion, overhead sweeps are the best combination of like looks flashy, but it does actually work, okay? There's a million moves in jiu-jitsu on YouTube and on Instagram. Yeah, it all looks great, but have you actually seen someone do it in a high-level competition? Have you seen Marcelo Garcia or Gordon Ryan use these techniques? That's a good test, I think, when does a technique work or not. It's one thing to do it on a non-resisting opponent, so it looks kind of flashy, you know, different submission setup or a different sweep. But you have to try to, you want good quality techniques. You don't want just something that looks flashy. It's fine if it looks flashy, but you need it to actually work as well. So if someone teaches you a move and you feel like you've never seen it in competition, you've never seen it in the gym, that may be a sign that it might not be very good quality. So I think overhead sweeps are a great combination of looks flashy, but actually works, and you can add them into your game today. So now we're looking at what can we do when our partner actually does stand up and we weren't able to prevent them staying on their knees. It's gonna happen. So say Jess is able to stand up. I was a little bit late in breaking the posture. I don't just necessarily want to unlock my guard. The thing is, you want to unlock your guard on your terms, not on their terms. If she's pushing my knee, say now she's forcing my guard open, okay? But if I'm able to maintain my guard and maybe I look to scoop under the leg, now it's okay to unlock my legs because I'm more open in my guard on my terms, and then I can knock her over. So for this lumberjack sweep is what we call it. We're looking to hook under one foot. So as she stands here, maybe this foot's a little bit further back, it only gives me access to one leg. With my other hand, I'll use the floor for a little extra power here, just so I can kind of push off the mat, and I'm pushing my hips into her as I'm trying to pull her left foot towards my head. So it looks like this. Boom, just takes her base out, and now it's important from here, I fall to my side as I start to get up. And now I'm gonna be able to secure the mount. If I just try to sit right up into her, you might run into a stiff arm. That's gonna prevent you from being able to complete the sweep. So as I get here, I go, okay, I hook under one leg, I use my hand on the floor to drive my hips into it here. And if I just try to sit up, she might just push me here like this and shove me back, and now she's gonna get up. So I won't get points for a sweep in that situation. So as she stands and I hit the sweep, hook under the leg, I pull my head close to the foot here. So her ankle, her Achilles is right on the crook of my elbow. And now I push here, but I'm leaning all my weight to my right side. I'm using my hands to get up in a big circle. And now I can secure the mount position. The lumberjack here, they stand up. I keep my guard closed. I hook, I pull myself in, nice and close to that foot. Hand on the floor, because sometimes you might try to pull and it's not gonna work. I've also heard people call this one the muscle sweep, because I think it feels like you're just trying to muscle it. But I make it a little easier if I do this little hand assist. Now it gives me a little extra leverage. I can start to come up, and now I've secured the mount position. So I'll just to demonstrate the lumberjack. We get here, I'm able to stand. Here, she hooks that foot. Yeah, really push off the foot, exactly. Right. So I'm able to stand, she hooks under, and now force to the mat as she comes up. 2 points for the sweep and 4 points for the mount. So that's one option when our partner looks to stand up. Keep your guard closed, hook just one arm around the leg, push off the mat, and they should fall right over. Okay, this is the double ankle sweep. This is probably my preferred one when my partner stands up. As I get up to both feet, I unlock my guard, grab both ankles, and now I can start to lift up with my hips and knock them back. Again, I don't want to just sit right up, because if she stiff arms, it's going to be a bit of a scramble. I don't want it to be a scramble. I want to make sure I win this battle. So as I get up, I'm getting on my right elbow, and I'm starting to build up onto my hands. If she stiff arms me now, not a big deal, because I can just start to get up, and I'm moving around the force, okay? You don't want to drive into force, you want to move around it. So again, as I'm locking up the closed guard, people are often going to want to stand and pass. So I'm here, I keep my guard closed until I get the ankles, and now I unlock here. And now I can start to spring into them. I can go to either side, I just have to post my hand, and now I'm getting up into a circle. Sometimes if they stiff arm you, you may even have an opportunity to go for an arm lock here, okay? But most of the time, I'm looking to take the position, get into mount, and then go on the attack from there. So just from another angle, the double ankle sweep. Now, as I'm here, she goes to stand up here like this. One thing they might do to counter you is to bring their head over your head, right? So now this is going to be difficult to get the sweep working. But as they go to stand back up and actually try to pass, they're going to have to bring their head over their hips. And as they do that, that lets me hit that double ankle sweep. Now I post the elbow, I go to my knee, and I'm getting up around that stiff arm into the mount control. So we're here, I stand up, unlock. Just don't forget to fall to that side that you're going to and post that arm. You know what I mean? Go again. Like instead of you kind of sat right up into me.
Okay.
Here, I'm up. Yeah, more like that. Because now if I try to push, you can just keep moving around. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. So the double ankle sweep is really good when you're able to grab both ankles. If you can't, hook under one for that like lumberjack style sweep. You can use these really good in combination. Score 2 for the sweep and 4 for the mount. Okay, last move I'm gonna show you guys in the series when they go to stand up. This is the leg tie-up sweep, or some people call this the mermaid sweep. Sounds kind of cool. So what I do for this one, it's taking advantage when my partner stands up and their knees are a little bit too close together. So say Jess stands up. In this situation, I have both sleeves, okay? And about here is the perfect situation for me to tie the legs up. When I tie the legs up, it's basically just like I'm locking a closed guard around their knees, okay? Now this is gonna really mess up their base. They're gonna wanna try to recover. But if I keep the hands together, there's not really anywhere for her to go. All I need to do is just kind of shake back and forth until I'm able to drop her to the ground. And now what I like to do is keep my legs pinched, and I can come up into a smash pass where I have the knees pinned together, and now I can start to put weight onto my partner and start to work around the legs, okay? We'll have a whole separate video on passing the guard and how to use that particular guard pass, but just use this as an entry into it. So as my partner stands, I control both sleeves. Now, if she's really wide with the knees, now you're not gonna be able to lock it up. That would be a good time to go double ankle, okay? Which we've looked at. So like I said, in jiu-jitsu, these moves don't just function in isolation. You're not just gonna know one move and be able to use it on everybody. You need to know moves in combination. Get them to think one thing and then switch to another. So as she goes to stand, I have both sleeves. I unlock. The legs are a little bit too close together, so I lock up here. But it's just as important to keep the sleeve grips and keep this tight. Because if I mess up and say I lost the sleeve, she could post the hand, and now it's gonna be really tough to finish the sweep. So I get here, I bring her hands in front of her knees, and now I just shake back and forth until she falls over here. And now keep my knees pinched, put my knees on the floor, and I'm looking to keep these legs together as I can start to come forward and try to pass around the legs. So once more, for a leg tie-up or a mermaid sweep, you need the sleeves. Here, as she stands, I unlock. Again, we're opening the guard on our terms, not their terms. She's not forcing my guard open. I'm unlocking and just going low here. Sometimes I'll even hit an overhead sweep where I'll pull the sleeves, similar to how I showed you in an earlier move, and take them over. Looks a little flashier, but a lot of times you don't need to do it. You can just get here and they'll just fall here. Now knees on the floor and just get heavy over the hips. Even if I hang out here, it's gonna force them into a defensive reaction where they're trying to push, they're using a lot of energy, and then we can start to slowly pass around the legs. So I'll get Jess to demonstrate the mermaid sweep. So I'm here. Yeah, a lot of times it'll happen like so. So you just get both sleeves, and now you're fine with me standing up, because you know once you get to here, yeah, keep those knees pinched and keep my hands like touching together here like this. And now really turn your body side to side until I fall over, yeah. And now up and stay heavy. And now you're gonna start to come around the side. Breathe.
Awkward actually that we go.
More. Here, you get the sleeves, stand up and you walk. Really pinch those knees. There's one thing I might try to do is step a leg out. Yeah, so you can hear, boom. And then just ride the momentum up. So that's our mermaid sweep. You feel like the person has their legs a little bit too close together and you can wrap them up, that's the time to go for it. You don't want to hesitate, you don't want to procrastinate and lock up and then wait to tip them over. Once you have the legs, move your body side to side, tip them over, complete the sweep, get on top. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our closed guard sweeps and back take section. So we covered a couple different back takes, a couple different sweeps. Like I said, you're gonna wanna use these things in combination. Learn a couple things on this video. If you have something else that you've learned from somebody else, great. You just wanna be able to use these things in combination. Like I said, jiu-jitsu is just not a one size fits all where you know the armbar and you're gonna be able to do it to everybody. You're gonna deal with partners who know what you're doing, so you're gonna have to be a little bit deceptive, use some misdirection. Go for the hip bump, then set up the armbar. Go for the scissor sweep, then set up something else. They stand up, you're gonna have a couple different things that you can transition into. So it's good to have 2 or 3 options from each position, no matter where the match goes. So hopefully this can give you a little bit of insight with what you should be looking to do in closed guard. Remember, we talked about goal setting. We want to try to break our opponent's posture, try to keep them on the defensive, try to look to use our grips and our strategy to get an angle, get a sweep, secure a back take, and hopefully win the match.